few projects. We did some school surveys, a down Woodward tour. We even did school exchanges where we took students from one community and put them in another school and traded, and they got to spend one day at each school and find out what it was like in a public school system in Detroit or in a public school system in Farmington, Allen Academy, at Allen Park. Does anybody want to go into detail about it?
Yeah, so I was one of the students that did the school exchange. So pretty much for 2 days, myself and Cartonio over here went to Farmington High and shadowed these two or whatever. And,
or whatever.
Jeez. You're so much better.
Yeah, and yeah, so we just found a lot about how it's bigger atmosphere, or at least for Allen Academy. I don't know about Cass, but it's a bigger atmosphere. I'm used to like a one-on-one, everyone knows everyone because we're K through 12, and 9 through 12 is in a basement, so everyone knows everyone, and it's more of a closer community. So we went there, and it's like, you know, you see everybody like doing their own thing and everything, and they're a really diverse city, and how they have a lot of people in there, and like from different groups and backgrounds and different things like that. So I was kind of like in culture shock because, you know, I kind of stepped out of what I was used to and exposed to this whole new world of, you know, Farmington Hills. Does anybody else want to pick up?
Socially. Tell me socially, because I wasn't one of the students that did the exchange when I was going to Southwestern, but we had students from like Cranbrook come down, and then two of our kids from student council went down to, and one of the things that they were saying was like socially even, like you said, same thing at Southwestern, everybody kind of knew each other because we either started off at like elementary or whatever. By the time you get in high school though, they were saying it's very cliquish. And there's certain groups that stick with you. Yeah, there's a lot of that.
There's a lot of that. They actually have a 400 hallway, and they call that Africa, and that's where all the African American students hang out. And lunchroom segregation too. Yeah. I know these two. They stepped outside of their comfort zone. They sit with a group of Caucasian kids and Indian kids or whatever. So they're so yeah, they're not just one race just hanging out with themselves, but there was a lot of segregation, and it's a shame to have all those.
Don't you notice it at instant?
Instant.
Yeah, like when you walk in, they don't. But I remember, you know, kind of like going into schools where we did debate and stuff, and you just saw it automatic. And like you're like, wow.
Because you're from the outside looking in.
And
it's like,
so it was very just.
Yeah, being from like a all-black high school is kind of very, very different. Yeah. So.
What about our school surveys?
Oh, okay. So we did some school surveys, and we gave surveys out to people in Farmington, like Harrison High School, Novi, and then some people in Detroit. And we saw like how different the results were. Like people in Detroit, they were asking for like necessities like toilet paper, textbooks, like things that you need when you go to school. While people in the suburbs were asking for like laptops and like automatic sinks and toilets and automatic door openers, like things that aren't necessary. But since we were like we already had the things that other people didn't, we were asking for even more. So it kind of shows how Farmington High School had a little more resources and opportunities as kids in DPS school, Detroit Public Schools, and yeah, so we kind of want to change that because we think it's unfair.
We also did a down Woodward tour. Does anyone want to talk about it? Oliver, you want to talk about it?
The down Woodward tour for me was pretty different. I mean, it showed me a different way of seeing from Detroit to the suburb, other than just driving in a car like on the freeway and whatnot. And we've seen a lot of dividers of land, such as bridges and whatnot, or certain areas like roads or whatnot that take you to like a different whole, like basically like a whole nother world. Like coming from downtown Detroit, where it's very clean and prosperous, you see a lot of like people and whatnot moving downward when you got to like Highland Park, which is it's deserted. Like the buildings are.
That's how I kind of describe Wayne State.
Like the buildings are all tore up and like burned down. You see a lot of homeless people walking around and whatnot, and like you know, say drug addicts and whatnot. And then as we moved a little further out, as we approached 7 Mile and 8 Mile, everything got better. Like other roads thinned out. It was very clean. Like it had grass and whatnot, and it was businesses booming and whatnot. And as soon as we crossed 8 Mile, everything just changed turns totally. Like, we start seeing police officers like on patrol or whatnot. I mean, it was just businesses for everything, like pet grooming businesses and pizza shops, like everything. It's like in Detroit. In Detroit, it seems like the main industries are like gas stations and liquor stores and whatnot. So, like, seeing a Don Woodward tour, like seeing the whole aspect of it, it was different from just driving through a suburb or coming from one place to going to Detroit.
You know how some things are just like, it wasn't a surprise? I mean, honestly, was any of this a huge surprise to you?
It wasn't really a huge surprise.
I mean, for me, it was always the click, you know, the different clicks and stuff. I mean, I don't know, growing up too, a lot of it wasn't, I always expected like a Farmington Hill School to look like that versus the school. I don't know if there was anything like that jumped out that was a huge surprise. Maybe I don't know, for you guys, it was like anything that really just stuck out was like impactful and you'll never forget the rest of your life.
The thing that I saw that was really different was like I didn't really expect that much difference, but when I went to Allen, it was kind of like how small the high school was. It was in like one hallway, and that was really different compared to our school. While Cass Tech was like so much bigger than our school, so like you saw like both sides of the spectrum.
The thing is, like, you hear about these kind of things, but you don't really think of them happening. So when you go to school, actually see it with your eyes, you're like, wait, what the heck? If they don't have like textbook or like tissue paper or like whatever.
Yeah.
So,
I have some people out there.
yeah, well,
You guys are more than welcome. Intern in my office.
there you go, Jenna.
No, really, I have a Detroit office, so you're more than welcome. We have a lot of young people already there. But yeah, you know, call me if you ever come up with any questions or even like a legislative idea. That would be kind of cool.
If they had a specific idea, what would they do?
Well, if you have an idea, we actually have this like whole department. Like, if you come up with this is the problem and this is how you think it should be solved. Somebody will actually, it's a bunch of lawyers that actually are extension of the legislature, will research it and find out is there an act that already exists that resolves it, but maybe it's not being enforced, or is something needs to be changed in the law or the act that would get to the solution that you have, you know, identified. So, you know, if you come up with something like that, that'll be, you know, really cool and very welcomed. I would love to, you know, spearhead that and you know, I think even if it's an issue that might bring awareness to doing something more like this, and you know, across the state, would be great.
So if they brought something to you, you could help kind of walk it through the system and see what the response would be.
That's right.
That's wonderful.
Sounds like we have an ally.
Do you have cards that you
Yes.
can give people?
Yes. No, I think they did that, like, after you come with the enough and all that, or maybe they might.
Good party is part of the leadership team that you built, that is organizing global youth services.